Thanks everybody for coming along. Thundelarra is a gold exploration play in Western Australia. We are operating about 800 kilometres north-northeast of Perth at a town outside a town called Thundelarra, which historically has produced about 7.1 million ounces of Archean gold, traditional shear-hosted Archean gold in greenstone belts. We have about 600 million shares in issue at the moment. We're trading at about 2 cents. There's listed options trading at about 0.5 cent as well. They're due to expire in September next year, worth about $5.5 million worth of capital if we can get the share price up above 5 cents by then and get them exercised, which would be very useful. We're capped at about 15 million at the moment, with 3.7 million in the bank at the end of March. Probably have about 2.5 in the bank at the end of June, actively and progressively and aggressively exploring at the moment. Shareholders, principal shareholder, Ragged Range is our chairman and founder, Phil Crabb. All the board has got exposure to the company. We're invested, so our objectives are aligned as closely as possible to every other existing shareholder. All spent good money. We haven't got any freebies in there, so skin in the game, which is important. Liquidity was a bit poor last year before we raised some money at about this period, and increased from about only $9,000 a day up to about 90,000 at the moment, which is very gratifying, notwithstanding that the share price is, as I say, down at 2.1, 2.2. But that represents excellent leverage to any discovery that we make, and we believe we've got some significant opportunities for that at the moment. A lot of experience on the board. I'll let people read that in the presentation, which is on our website. Thundelarra, as I say, our main activities are around this part of Western Australia. We also have some exposure up in the Kimberley and also some assets in the Northern Territory. Gold focus, as I say, is the primary thing. And again, the history that we have demonstrating our ability to monetize and create value for shareholders represents some of the historical achievements that have been delivered by the board, including the Yilgarn Star, which is Gascoyne gold mines that Phil Crabb found and discovered, developed, and got into production and was finally taken over. So we have a history of developing and delivering value for shareholders. We're currently exploring aggressively, and since we got the gold asset at the Red Dragon gold assets, which are at Thundelarra at Garden Gully, we've probably put about 40,000 metres of drilling in there over the last couple of years on what is ostensibly a totally new project, notwithstanding that, as I say, it's only 15 kilometres from Thundelarra. This shows the main Thundelarra is just here. 2 plants to the north and south along the Great Western Highway, which reinforce the value of the infrastructure that we have in place. The Great Northern Highway is a sealed highway, goes from Perth up to Wyndham, and it is the main artery for vehicle traffic going north from Perth. And there from Garden Gully itself, 30 k's to the north, is the Andy Well plant of Doré that's currently on care and maintenance, and that has a capacity of about 300,000 tonnes per annum, designed to serve high-grade ore. And south of us, 30 k's south, is the Bluebird mill, which is owned by Western Gold, and that's about 3.1 million tonnes per annum and is designed more for low-grade. Both of those have the ability and the desire at the moment for additional feed, so that's why we really like their location, because it provides optionality for us. We don't have to be like some of the mines or the new discoveries that are miles from any infrastructure that need to find 1 or 2 million ounces before they can make some sort of development decision on the economies of scale that go with that sort of infrastructure issue when you're miles from anywhere. That close to existing plants, we have the optionality of maybe doing a joint venture or a toll treatment arrangement with one of these plants, which are currently in vogue very much in Western Australia and represent a significant part of development strategy for new small operations as you look to try and build up to being a bigger deposit. Garden Gully has had some spectacular intercepts. When we first started, we got this was 7 metres at 24.5 grams, only 11 metres from surface, so it looked like a supergene system at our Lydia prospect. All the results on this screen are from our drilling, so we're really pretty pleased with all this. But the jewel is Crown Prince, which was the only historical production, 21,000 ounces at 21 grams. These, again, are just representative of some of the results, not including Crown Prince, of the new drilling that we've done and what we essentially believe are new discoveries. This is what got us really excited, though, late last year after we started drilling at Crown Prince. We stepped back. The mining at Crown Prince had been to about 90 metres and was then constrained by water ingress. And as I say, it was mined back in 1906 to 1912, so no real recently mined material from there, and a lot of opportunity for additional material to be found. When we drilled below the existing mines to see if we could see the extensions of the main lode, these are just 6 examples of visible free gold in the core. And often people say that when you've got arsenic around, then it becomes a problem with refractory ore. But this is a prime example. Free gold sitting there next to the arsenopyrite. And we know from scanning electron microscopy that there's gold within the arsenopyrite as well. So it's a polyphase system of remobilized mineralization and several different phases of gold mineralization within that whole scheme of the operation and the system. What we're seeing now, part of that I just showed you represents 2.4 metres at 66 grams, so 2 ounces at about 250 metres. That's within a zone of 8 metres at 22. So we're seeing that 22-gram consistency, which is the same as the historical mineralisation, and this represents a recurrence at 130 metres below the existing operation, or what was mined historically, and it's still open. As we do more work here, we've looked at what's happening at depth, because we thought maybe this is just a fairly thin system, but the zone which you can't read so well here, but within the black dotted lines, what the text is saying is that there's a potassic metasomatism system. So what we're seeing geologically is mineralization, boron mineralization as well, which is representative of the presence, or it suggests the presence of a larger heat source at depth, which we believe is the source of the mineralization that's come through this entire zone. What that means for the future as we continue to work is that because we've extended this by 130 metres vertically, we need to continue looking deeper below that. And also at Lydia, which doesn't really start mineralisation of any substance until round about this level, 80 metres at 2 grams. So that's a lower grade system, but we believe that what that represents is the top of systems that have been eroded off the top of where Crown Prince is, and that Crown Prince represents a lower position in the global mineralisation system that's been upfaulted. So what we have with an air core program recently, which is to look for extensions and possibilities of repetitions of the Crown Prince style of mineralisation. And for those who haven't been in Western Australia, this is what we have to deal with. There's nothing there to look at. There's no outcrop, no subcrop, transported cover. So you need to drill through that to understand what's happening with the geology. And that very aspect that you're seeing there is part of the reason why we believe this has been missed in a zone that is so close to the historical production. So at the moment, moving forward, we're looking at developing the Crown Prince. Maybe we can find 40, 50, 60,000 ounces initially, not huge compared to some of the presentations we've seen, but if we can get a joint venture or a toll treatment through an operation like those at Westgold have down at Bluebird, they're paying under other operations $150, $160 an ounce net after taking all costs into account, and they do that with Southern Gold at Cannon Mine near Kalgoorlie. That would represent an additional $50 or $5 million from, say, $160 an ounce on 30,000 ounces near surface at Crown Prince, with the possibility then of funding additional exploration down the track. So this is a really exciting early stage exploration project with huge potential leverage to discovery. One other thing worth mentioning, because Red Boar's been our main project in the past. This here is the Sandfire DeGrussa copper gold mine, which many of you will know of. That's the surface expression of the conductor 5, 600 metres vertical depth, 200 metres from our boundary, and all these white dots here are the drill holes they've done. We've got a deal on that at the moment. Our joint venture partner, who is generating sufficient revenue from royalties to be able to fund this, is putting $1.5 million worth of exploration into this ground by January next year, with a view to hopefully finding potential extensions or repetitions of the DeGrussa operation. We don't have to spend a cent on that, and he doesn't earn any further interest, so we retain 90% until he's discovered 30,000 tonnes of copper. Our exposure is gold. We've got copper there in the background too. Thank you.